Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer workshop. Yeah, I almost said the name of the show wrong, which is a great way to start the stream. Hi, Harold. Thank you for hosting. If you're currently a subscriber, you can go to the Bear Cave, the Lego, the site, the moat in the chat. Let the people know you're here, Harold. You're hosting. I appreciate that very much. I just got an email about my show, a show that is happening tonight, because you're like, Pat, I'm watching this live right now, or I'm watching the VOD because I was all set to watch you in the evening, but the stream isn't happening in the evening. What's up? Harold's here. Yes, hello, Harold. Well, what's up is that I'm doing my stream here in the afternoon because I'm covering a tech shift in the evening at the theater that I work at. Normally don't work Saturday nights, but a request came in looking for a cover, and I am not in a position right now to be like, no, I'm only working the 2 days I say I work. I'm in a position where I will say yes to things. I'm just right now checking an email real quick, but I can talk while I do it. And we're going to see if a few more folks want to join us. But yeah, I'm streaming at 3:30 p.m. in the afternoon, and that's early for me. I don't normally do that on a Saturday or any day. I stream at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So this is very early. But yeah, I'm working an evening shift tonight, so I had to be like, okay, I'm going to instead do this. And I got an email with some tech for a show tonight, and they waited until also, hello Epic Open World, hello Dude Wants His Rug, welcome, welcome, already a solid crew of folks here. Yeah, one of the shows that I'm covering tonight waited till 3:30 p.m. on the day of their show to send me tech. And I bet they're going to expect a response from me, and they're not going to get it for 2 hours, because I'm not going to send them a response. They had a lot of time to talk to me about their show. It's still going to be great. I'm still going to fucking hashtag nail it. And not in the Netflix series sense. I'm actually going to nail it by doing a great job. Not just trying my best and maybe doing a bad job. I'm actually going to do a good job, because that's how I roll and how I do things. But yeah, I just noticed that looks like a piece of this kit fell off. I'm missing a little blue piece you can see that usually here should be there and isn't. I'll find that in the future. Don't you worry about it. But yeah, we're working on the Exia. We started this on Thursday. It's a sharp looking kit. I'm excited to continue to work on it. Here's a thing that I've noticed. I've done the Quanta, which is also very similar to the Exia. It's in the same line. This kit, the GN drive is bad. This is the GN drive, and it's a little thing. The idea is that it like goes in the back of the kit and powers it up and lets it do cool things. And then if you have one that has the LED in it, it'll like shine a light through the thing. GN is a whole thing, but it comes with this little thing here that you can like put your kit in, and it looks neat. But it has a tendency to like kind of come apart, and I don't love that. So putting it in and outside of its case can have it pop up. We got a little bit of the head done at the end of the stream, but really the whole stream was we built the chest, all the chest, and then like I said, a piece came off, and I have to track that down where it went and what happened to it. I just see it. I do have to reply to this here. Okay. Okay. Great. I'm just going to reply to this email. Great. I'm busy until 5:30, and we'll look at all of this then, which is true. And I now will not look at my phone anymore. I apologize for even looking at it now. I have so few folks here watching the stream today, which is okay. Weird. Didn't get a notice that Pat was streaming. Oh, that's a bummer. Silver Streak. Also, hi, Silver Streak. Yeah, I'm doing a Saturday afternoon stream. I'm sorry you didn't get a notice. People that have their notifications turned on should get a pop-up saying when I stream. But I have said the probably the easiest way to know when I'm going live is to follow me on Twitter, which is not. It's advocating for people to use Twitter, which is not great, and I would prefer not to advocate folks use Twitter. But it is, unfortunately, the best way to find out when I'm doing stuff. Is to use the old Twitter. Twitch has been weird notifications recently. I have seen that as well. I have known that people have been streaming, and I have not seen it show up in my list, and I have to like just go to the page and it works. I have seen that happen. I believe last week that happened, which was frustrating. Um, but all right, let's get into building. We are working on our Exia here. We're working on the head right now. We do have the body, as you can see. We got the gun sword. We got the regular swords. We got the the arm swords. This is a main ass kit. This is the kit that, like, you see this and you're like, yeah, I know what this thing is, and I know what this thing's about. I understand where this kit is coming from and where it's going. Let's see. So C and then D. I know what you mean. Promoting my streaming podcast, the number one reason I haven't left Twitter or Facebook. Yeah. I mean, look, part of being on Facebook still is seeing is family. I do have family that primarily use it. I would love it if they found another avenue to post things, and so I could go. But also, that is a way that I keep track of what's going on in their lives as well. And yeah, it's promotion and all that. I'll mention it in the middle. Oh, Silverstreak's now hosting. Thank you very much, Silverstreak, for the host. I appreciate it. Epic Open World says, I have no notifications turned on. It's just too much. Need to cut off outside world at some point. Yeah, I understand that. I don't have any Twitter notifications on. I just, well, I know when someone sends me a DM. I like knowing about DMs on Twitter, and that includes request DMs. I appreciate that. As far as Twitch notifications go, I do have those turned on, and I do like to see those now and again. If I'm just kind of like, because look, here's the thing. Sometimes you're watching a stream, and it's not like a priority, right? It's not like you're not watching it going, I can't wait to watch this for the next several hours. It's kind of like sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you're just watching a thing and you're like, this is what I'm doing right now. Eventually, I will not be doing this. Maybe somebody else is going to be streaming. Because, maybe you tune in to me on a Wednesday and you don't know that that's not my build stream time. That's my game stream. And you're like, I don't want to watch you play Jackbox. Or I don't want to watch you do sing. Okay, I get that. Or I'm building something that you have no interest in. I get that. That's fine with me. I sometimes am not in the mood for watching Kate Stark, who is a fantastic streamer that I enjoy. She's been streaming a lot of PUBG with randoms lately. And I don't want to watch that. Now, did I miss out on her with someone who is actually a very quality beatboxer do their thing, and it was it's a cool clip? Yeah, I missed seeing that live. But like, Yeah, as much as I love Will Smith, I'm PUBG'd out. And I do like it when Will plays with Kate. I think that's really fun. But yes, when Kate was starting to get back into Minecraft a bit, or actually starting Minecraft for the first time, that was cool because I hadn't watched a Minecraft stream in a really long time. So it was kind of cool to like check in with Minecraft, a thing that like maybe I'm not. I tune into the Stardew Valley streams, but can't watch any more PUBG. Yeah, Silver, and I don't think like that's the thing, right? There are a lot of people that don't want to watch Brian Kibler play League of Legends. They want to watch Brian Kibler play Hearthstone. But that's, or even specifically, people don't want to watch Firebat play Battlegrounds in Hearthstone. They want to see him play Ladder. But he doesn't want to right now because he's not having fun with ladder, so he's playing Battlegrounds. And there are people that are like, okay, well, this is where I tune out. This is where I skip. And I get that. I think there's a lot of there's to me. I don't want someone to feel like they have to be here on the stream and they have to watch because they feel obligated. It's 100% up to the streamer to play what they want. The burnout is just an important. Yes, their burnout is as important as mine. Yeah, and to me that's the thing of like, I don't know if I'm going to do Twitch Sings for a bit because Twitch Sings is really fun and I enjoy singing, but it is like can be sometimes like I feel like I'm a little disconnected from chat because if I'm trying to do my best in a song, I'm not really paying attention to what you say, and I can't really comment on what you say, which I can do more easily when I'm doing this. And then we were playing Ape Out, which, hey, just so you know, I haven't gotten any better at Ape Out, but I've been playing it. Ape Out turned out to be a game that I don't really want to play on stream because I don't look at chat while I'm doing it. And then I would like lose, and then I would look at chat. And obviously, you know, I would lose quick enough that I would be able to keep up. But it seems like yeah, 8 doesn't mill it. You missed the rando with Kate. That was great. He admitted he was high as fuck and just there for a good time. I love that. I did miss that Open Go World. And Silver Streak says Ape Out is amazing, but I'm also terrible. Yeah, I think Ape Out is great, and I've been playing it on my own. So I found that Hearthstone is the game that I am best at playing and talking to chat. Jackbox, and also like Jackbox, anything where there's prep, right? Like I'm not communicating, I'm not hosting. I'm like thinking of fun things to write in Quiplash and not looking at what you're all doing and engaging with you. And that's a thing that like I can say that I can do, not only because our audience here is kind of small, viewership numbers, even when the viewer number, even when I break 20, the amount of people chatting is generally 6 to 8 at most at a time. So I'm able to converse with all of you and keep talking to you and see what's going on. But I can't really do that if I'm focused on the game I'm playing. And I don't love that. I think it was the Hearthstone streamer Purple was saying, people in his chat the other day were like, "Oh, you're talking so much more than you normally do," and that's because he was spectating another streamer, and he was streaming but spectating them playing. So he's like, "Well, yeah, I'm spectating. I can talk a lot more when I'm doing that because I'm not playing the game." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And some people are obviously way better at it, and they're skilled at it. They can keep going. Or there are some folks that are at the point now where checking in with chat and being very engaged with chat is something they don't do or really have to do. They're engaging with bits and coins and pop-ups for donations and people subscribing and renewing their subscriptions, and that's something they can do. And they're skilled at it. I don't have that skill as much as I would like to have that skill. I like to be able to stop what I'm doing for a second, look at what's going on in the stream, and then comment on chat, and then get back into it. Epic Open World says, "I admit I am tired of PUBG streams. Also, they peak for me was GB and Waypoint streams." Yeah, I mean, I still enjoy watching Kate play, and she has fun people that play with her, and she goes out of her way to find people to play. And I enjoy that. But sometimes I think the Jackbox series is basically an improv comedy trainer as far as chat interaction. Since Jackbot allows chat participation, it's a bit less important for direct streaming interaction. Yeah, Silver Streak. That is you're right in that respect. That I missed a sticker, so I was putting the crown on, but I have to take the crown off because I missed a sticker. I was so engaged in chat that I missed a sticker. But yeah, that Jackbox games allow for audience participation, which I really love because I don't have that. It's one of the things that I really like about channel points is You can ask me a question that I must answer. I mean, I'll probably answer it anyway, but it allows you to have that pop up. You can do the thing where you use your channel points, so I play the soundboard. I think channel points are really cool. I don't love Hype Train, which, look, has there been a Hype Train on this channel yet? No. Could there be at some point? Maybe. Hype Train is this thing where, like, it's a peer pressure. You may have seen it on some bigger streamers where, like, people are giving, they're renewing their subscriptions. They're making donations. And suddenly it's like, oh, well, you get this and this if you do it and if you join in. I like that Klepik, I think, just turned it off. Loading Ready Run, I believe, has set it so it's like almost, oh yeah, you get emotes. But it's set up a thing where, like, they're like, it has to be really high for it to kick in. But yes, it does feel, whereas I feel channel points and the promotion they did around Christmas time, where if you gave a certain amount of bits and coins, or if you renewed or if you gifted subs, people got emotes. I think that's a cool interaction that, like, that encourages those behaviors. Whereas the Hype Train is like, well, get on board, get into it. It doesn't feel good. Also, Hype Train, like, feels like, hey, I know that you're going for the definition of, like, hype, get excited, but hype also feels like it's saying, hey, this is false, this is inaccurate, give in to the hype, which I don't want to encourage people to give into some kind of false thing. It feels a little disingenuous. Silver Streak says, channel points feels community interaction focused. Hype Train feels predatory. Yeah, it is predatory, and in its monetization, it is. Look, this is a business. I am a small business owner, which I admit is a weird thing to say, but it's true. Like, I am a solo streamer that does stuff, and I look for people to subscribe, and I look for people to renew their subscriptions, and I look for people to donate bits and coins, and I look for folks to watch the streams and chat with me, so I can keep going and keep doing it. I am here to entertain you, but I am also here to continue to build the stream so that I can entertain more people, and it's a whole thing. I'm working tonight, which is why I'm streaming right now. One could argue that I could have just taken today off instead of doing an early stream. But part of the idea of being at $150 on Patreon a month over, which I am over $150. I'm over $150 on Patreon, and part of that is, well, if I'm over $150 on Patreon, then I stream 6 hours a week of build streams. That's a thing. Would people be like, you didn't stream 6 hours of building this week, I'm done? I don't necessarily think people would do that. If that became... Oh, thank you, Silver Streak. I appreciate that. If that became commonplace, if I was weekly only doing 4 hours a week, I would have to make concessions or offer something else or refresh the things that I was doing there, because it wouldn't feel right to me to be making these, like, to, like, make those promises that I couldn't keep. We have to put some stickers on here. I love these stickers. Let's look at the overhead, because this isn't gonna play right here. I love this green. Now, did I wish this green was more like this green that you're gonna see here? We're gonna show this in a minute. Yeah. I wish we had more of that see-through green plastic. But I do think these stickers just look really great and really highlight like the best parts of this Exia. It really does lean into the green, which some other kits don't. And I really like that. All right, so we got to figure out which one we want, which is this one here. Okay. I really just think it's a sharp looking kit. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. So there are weeks where I don't hit 6 hours of streaming. Those are usually PAX related because I'll be traveling and can't do it. Like the Airbnb that I'm going to be staying at in Boston, I don't. I will not be able to stream out of. That is not going to be a possibility. So that weekend, I have to make the decision. Okay, well, how do I try to do a stream at one of those pods? Do I try to get time at one of those pods and stream? Can I fit into my schedule that? If I have a Friday night panel, a Saturday night panel, and a Friday afternoon panel, and a Sunday afternoon panel right now, more details about the panels I'm guesting on soon. I'm waiting for them to fully announce. But I am currently the plans are for me to produce 2 panels, one for Friday night, one Saturday night, and to be on. So theoretically, Thursday, right now, I'm just getting up there and hanging out and do whatever. So I might try to stream at one of those pods. Now, those pods are set up the stream pods are set up for people to play games, right? And they have a bunch of loaded and you can sign into things. So I don't know if they would be interested in me doing I don't know physically how I would do a build stream there. So I'd probably play a game or just do a check-in. But I have to see. So that's an interesting thing to think about there is, okay, well, how do I make that an engaging thing for people that are interested in watching me stream there? I like that Twitch and YouTube are in a weird spot right now with money stuff. A YouTuber I follow, you feel like, you didn't like, you feel like. I follow for game stuff, just started doing ranking and lists. He ranked food at the grocery store, and that is 3 times the review game stuff, which makes you sad. Yeah, I think in general things are in a weird spot. So Epic. I don't know if it's that people are tired of watching game stuff or they're evolving. I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that people are just more interested. Just chatting is exploding. And I don't think that's people who are tired of watching games moving over there. I think it's people who didn't know that streaming was something they could engage in, finding a thing for them to watch. When I started doing this, am I the first person to do model kit building on Twitch? Of course not. But I do have people who are checking the makers and crafting, which is the tab I'm under, the category I'm in, who see Gunpla in the title of my stream and come in and they're like, I didn't know people did model kit building. Or I'll have somebody reach out to me and go like, hey, you build Lego? I didn't know that was a thing. And I think that just chatting is an interesting category that's I think that the numbers, it had its best year ever as a category on Twitch as people find that there's a place for them. Oh yeah, sir, sure. Silver, you're a mod for Mary Kish. The mod team has put in extra work whenever she does just chatting. Yeah, because I think that people I'm sure that there are people, look, there are diehards that just don't want to see anything, and they also think that just chatting is an excuse for them to say, just for some reason they take just chatting to mean say whatever garbage you want to say, because the person that they're coming in to engage with is speaking directly to them. Obviously, you're here in a stream with me. You know that I am talking directly to you and reading your chat. And reading my chat, I should say, and what you say in my chat. And I'm engaging with you. Some streamers don't engage as much as this, obviously, because they are too big or because they are doing a thing and can't concentrate. Hey, if you watch a speedrunner, sometimes they're not reading chat because they're doing a thing. And even if they have that thing memorized and they're quality at it, there's focus split. Or if they are reading, Sometimes they don't read out loud everything in chat. They might read it, but they don't respond to every chat message because there's too many of them. Or sometimes people say things like, I've had it here where people will like come in and they make a comment that like maybe they're sharing something personal, um, or like they're new to the chat and I don't really have any like history with them, and they say something that I have nothing to respond to this with, so I don't say it. But I read every message you write, and if it makes sense for me to reply to it, I certainly will. But yeah, there are plenty of folks out there that like can't do that. I don't know. I will say for me, my ranking videos, I've only done 2 weeks of it. They certainly haven't blown up yet. And I will promise you that if you watch any of the Baering the List videos that I'm doing, where I rank things, I am not doing any of those to stir the algorithm or be controversial in a way to appeal to get more views. I am just saying my opinions on things, and usually it's entertainment and it's for fun. But I was expecting to get a few more comments on my Nintendo one, and maybe I will. I'll put the link to it, in the when we get to there, and maybe you'll look at it and go, "Wait, what? Where did you put the N64? Where did you put the GameCube? What are you talking about?" I will say, I think I said this, that GameCube ranking, I had in mind where that was, and then when I got into actually making my point and making my argument, I went, oh, I actually think something different. All right, so I'm having an issue here. I'm trying to, we got these little gold pieces here. You can see that there. And they like to pop out as I'm trying to assemble the sides of this head. So I'm running into an issue there. I'm okay with that, like being an issue if I can get the rest of this head assembled. I'm also running into trouble getting the rest of it lined up in place. So I am running a little bit issue assembling this head here. It's taking longer than I would like. And that's what's happening while I'm chatting about videos and such. I'll say my next Baering the List is wrestling themed, but it is not controversial. Even if people disagree with, I don't think people are going to disagree with anything I've said in that. It may end up being the only ranking, my Baering the List. It might be the only ranking video I ever do where people are not going to argue, because I think it's pretty solid. So I'm excited for that one. It's very nonsensical, but I'm excited for it. That's next Wednesday. That'll be out. Tuesday, if you're a $5 patron or $10 patron supporter, because I do that stuff. So we're about a half an hour in. I have made very little progress here. I am trying to make some more progress in this assembly of the head here. Running into some issues. I think I'm going to get my tweezers out here. If I can't get these gold pieces in properly, I will just move on and then do it off stream, because I do want to keep assembling this head, but I want to see if I can get these in. I might have to put a little glue or tack on them. There is Just Chatting Person I watch sometimes that splits her time on Twitch and modeling an adult website. She has some do it because it's just talking, but less pressure and using some of the same skills. Yeah. That's interesting. I have a friend that does adult modeling and cam work, who's a cam person, and they are also a very good improviser. They are very quick on their feet and very smart and adaptable. And I'm not going to blow up their spot, because they keep the world separate because they're not the same worlds. But I will say this, according to them, they have had numerous people say, "You are the funniest cam girl I have ever seen," which is a interesting compliment. But they were very happy with that. But yeah, I was like, oh yeah, okay. Comfortability on stage is a hard thing. And also, um, to make it very clear, comfortability on camera is not the same thing as comfortability on stage. Those are different skills that are adaptable and can be complementary, but they are not the same, and that is an important thing for people to understand. Um, uh, there is a very well known YouTuber who made like comedy videos and stuff, right? Made great comedy videos, comedy music, doing his thing. By all accounts, good dude, solid guy, right? Well, you know, does a tour and has tour dates set up. Never performed live, never performed for anyone, but is going to have a huge audience and is going to have a bunch of people coming to see him who maybe don't go to comedy shows or don't see comedy. But he also knows that, hey, I'm not going to do great at this. They're going to love it because they love me. But people that came with them, or people that are just like, well, this is the venue I go to see shows at, they might not like what I'm about to do because I don't have experience doing it. So what this YouTuber did was they asked the promoter that they were working with, could we get a really good stand-up? Epic World says yes, she's on a campsite. She said on Twitch when she does, but doesn't push it because Twitch is weird. Yes, they could. She can't use her Twitch as an advertisement for her adult site. She has to be careful about that. And that's important for her business on both sites. Is to make sure that it doesn't grow so much and become that it's not easy to make the connection between the two things. Yeah, that's probably very important for her to do, which is a bummer. But yeah, so in this case, the guy asked the promoter like that he's working with, hey, can we like book a stand-up, like a good stand-up who like is used to working with like kind of rowdy crowds or whatever that could kind of ease the audience in, explain what the rules are, make them laugh, warm them up, but then also like kind of give them an understanding of what a comedy show is. And that's why you may see me do at some shows warm up where I kind of explain what the panel is. I do that before improvised post-mortem specifically because that is a comedy show at a convention, and I want the audience to understand that they are a comedy audience. I do that when I do improv at places that improv is not normally done at. I was in a group, or I was guesting with a group that was doing improv at an art museum. And the intro, I helped craft the intro for it, which was basically explaining to them that within the earshot, anywhere anyone could hear them, they were now a comedy audience. When I would do wrestling shows, would do League of Heels, it's important for the audience to understand that they are now a wrestling audience and a wrestling crowd. Even though we're still at PAX or whatever, their part of it is now that they are okay, so these are not going to fit in right. I'm going to do them later on my own. I'm putting them in the box so I can get to them later because I want to move on with the build and continue to work on this head. So we're going to just do that. But that's important, is to let the audience know what kind of audience they are, if that's applicable. I learned a lot from watching that. Comics, comedians, traditionally stand-ups, I should say, particularly, they get gigs doing things that don't make sense for them to do. Sometimes they get hired as MCs, right? You can get hired as a master of ceremonies at a thing, and you're quick on your feet, and you can get a couple jokes in, and that's fun. But sometimes, and more often than not, comedians get hired to do things that don't make any sense, and they shouldn't be doing them. uh, in venues that where comedy is not only not expected but actively disliked. Um, there was a tour that Flogging Molly was doing years ago, and a friend of mine went to see them and was like, "Hey Pat, there was this sketch comedy group that middled for Flogging Molly. They seem cool, but why would they do that?" And it was ahead of their first show they ever had. The sketch group Whitest Kids You Know was middling. There would be a band, and then there would be videos and live sketches from the Whitest Kids You Know, and then there would be Flogging Molly. And I guess the idea is that, like, if you are in the 2000s, the late 2000s, going to see Flogging Molly, you are the demographic that might watch a sketch comedy group of all 20-somethings white boys who are funny. Not to take away from them, they're funny, but, like, you might be into this, which is wrong. It's the number one thing I can tell you. If you take anything away from me, anything I do here on streaming, please understand this. If you go to see a concert, you don't want to see stand-up. You want to see the concert because sometimes there are nights at shows, right? And there might be something weird, right? But if you go to a venue to see a band, you want to see that band. You don't, and when I mean broadly, I'm talking very broadly, you don't even want to see the band that's opening for that band, that they may have requested themselves open for them. They might love this band. This band might be around longer, and they might consider this band to be a formative thing that they love. They're there because this band exists, and they're hoping they can expose this band to a wider audience and get this band acknowledged. And you'd still give them the middle finger. Not you specifically, you in general, still give this opening act the middle finger because they're not the band you want to see, and you have this weird perception that if they got off stage now, the band you came to see would come out and do a longer set, which is inaccurate. Unbelievably inaccurate. Not possible. Not going to happen. There would just be a lull, and then the band would come out. I've seen this at, like, so many shows out there. Like, so many shows where that is the case, where it's just like, like, you're here to see They Might Be Giants, and Eugene Merman is opening for They Might Be Giants. Eugene Merman, who is a comedian that is the target demographic, his target demographic is people that would pay to see They Might Be Giants live in concert. There is nothing in my mind, like, more perfect. Oh, I picked the leg ones here. I pulled these leg ones out. I got heated. I think there's room for someone to start a comedy channel on Twitch. I mean, D&D can get big on Twitch when I sketch comedy group. Yeah, I mean, so people have experimented with it. There was a bit there where, because they have a venue in there were live streams of some stand-up shows and various other shows happening on where do you go? Oh, so there were some live stuff happening at Cards Against Humanity because they have a venue in their offices in Chicago. And then, of course, Harold will be quick to point out that Loading Ready Run, the streaming channel, does a show. They do a live show. Now, that's not weekly, and that's not maybe like, and it is interactive, and it's just segments and pre-tapes, and it's not the whole of the channel. The main thing is that like a lot of people that would be interested in doing that are live performers. So they are you need a venue with good streaming capacity to be able to pull off that kind of performance. And then the other thing that's just like is that it just takes a lot of energy to do stuff like that. It just takes a lot of energy to do live theater. And then, you hope you can find something that's interactive and that people are going to be interested in, and you hope you can make something that they'll come back to. I know that Cards stopped doing it because they didn't love the audience that they were pulling. They liked the numbers, but not the. They were like, Twitch chat is bad, and I could see their audience like not a portion of the audience that likes them who are cool people not necessarily being their Twitch audience, and the name drawing in people who were there not to have fun and be cool. Is there room for it? Certainly. Got a dash for a while. Have a good one. Keep being right, Pat. Well, thank you very much, Silver Streak. Thanks for being here. Appreciate having you here on a Saturday. Thanks for chatting, because I know that it's been very helpful for me to have people here in the chat on kind of a quiet day. There are comedians that are way into games and understand Twitch. I feel like they can figure it out. Yeah, Epic. I mean, that's totally true. Really, what it comes down to is, like Mike Drucker streams and plays games. Adam Conover streams and plays games. But neither of them is going to make the commitment to going full time, right? Like, I think if Adam might be an affiliate, but I don't think that Drucker is, because Drucker works all day, and then at night, after he's done writing on a comedy show, he does stand-up, or he tours. So, like, he'd have to have a rig that he could do portably. And so it's not a priority for him to, while he's on the road or doing all that, because he's still a working comic. So I think stand-ups who are into games, like Ron Funches wants to be on TV. Ron Funches doesn't want to be a streamer. Ron Funches would do a great job on streams and be the funniest streamer you've ever seen. But he's too big for it. There are sketch groups that do stuff on Twitch, and I think that like there's room for more of it. I think that the money in Twitch and streaming in general is consistency. I know that I would do better if I streamed longer each session. I know I would do better if I streamed every night, but that's not a feasible thing. And for streamers out there who are or comedians out there who look at it, they go, there's two of the folks that do Drawfee, which is a College Humor subsidy that is hopefully going to continue. They're working on figuring out ways to continue being a thing and continue to do stuff. Julia and Jacob do streams outside on their own, and they're talented and funny people, and they found time to do it. But because of all the other commitments they've had, they haven't been able to like really focus on making that a priority. It's hard. But yeah, I mean, like, have I had aspirations of doing more on streams than I do? Yeah. Like, I've thought, like, well, what can I do comedy-wise on streaming or what can I pull in? Like, people have asked about, like, oh, well, like, we should be streaming funny games and you should have guests and do all other stuff. I'm like, yeah, these are all things that, like, I totally could do. But, having studio space, having commitment for people. Once you start going outside of just you, because you can always do you and someone calling in on Discord, but once you start adding multiple people in, and you start adding in production, Well, then you need somebody running, making sure the stream looks good, keeping an eye on chat. Uh, Not every stream, but a lot of streams you see, if you watch like Loading Ready Run, who are a collective, right? There are streams that happen where it's just a person or two people in front of a computer and a camera doing the stream. But there are also streams where there is like Ian has a building and working craftsmanship stream. That stream needs two other people. It needs somebody running the board and manning the camera and keeping an eye on chat and keeping an eye on the stream and keeping an eye on OBS or whatever they're using in the overlays. And it also needs somebody manning cameras, moving them in position, refocusing them for that show. So that show needs two people outside of the person or people on the stream. So when you start getting into higher productions, you start running into the necessity to have a lot of people involved, and it becomes a thing. Even some of the bigger comedians that appear on shows play games. Yeah, but also, you're not wrong, Epic World. But the thing you have to look into is like, because people have said, like, I've had conversations with people going like, hey, I know you stream. Like, what's that about? And I have to be like, it's a replacement for going into stand-up clubs. Do you want to go to less stand-up clubs? And the answer I hear from everyone is no. Now, there are improvisers that don't improvise every night of the week that might be interested in that. There are more people that I could see looking to supplement. But the thing I say is that if you want to get serious about streaming, it has to be the thing you do instead of other things. So right now, obviously, I'm streaming the afternoon on Saturday because I stream Saturday nights because that seems to be a good night for streaming for me. And I don't stream, and I stream on Thursday nights, and I stream most Wednesdays. Not every Wednesday, but a lot of Wednesdays. So those are nights that I have and Monday nights. Those are all nights I've decided because I'm streaming on those nights, I am not performing on those nights, which is a concession that I make. And that's fine because I've made that choice. That becomes a choice that other people have to make. There were comedians I know here in New York that had a gaming podcast. They were funny people, and they had a gaming podcast, and they started doing that live on Twitch, and then they would broadcast the podcast. And that worked out well for them because they could interact with fans. I was a guest on it, and I was really happy to be a guest on that because that's fun. And they found that out. They found an avenue for that. Drucker for a spell wrote Up at Noon with Greg when Miller was still at IGN, and that was having a day job where you could write about do stuff about comedy and be funny and talk about games and do all that. And I think there's room for more of that. It was only a couple years ago, and it was still too ahead of its time. Jonah Ray Rodriguez shot a pilot for Comedy Central called Jonah's Arcade, which was a comedy show about video game stuff. Drucker does that live show where they play bad games. Yes. So Epic Overworld. Drucker could do that as if Mike wanted to, he could do that as a streaming show, right? Where he just had one guest, maybe two. Maybe just have people play over Skype and just have a couple like windows or whatever. He could do something like that if he wanted to. Instead, he sporadically throughout the year does it as a live show where he makes some money, but he does it on his own schedule, and he can get different guests because it's easier to get guests to come out to a live event sometimes, or if he's at a festival or something like that, he can book names because there are people who will say yes to whatever because they want to work with him, and then there are bigger names that understand the idea of, oh, San Francisco Sketch Fest? Yeah, I'll do that. And don't necessarily understand the idea of, you want me to call you on Skype and watch you play a bad video game, or come to your apartment and play a bad video game for people? I don't know about that. But yeah, so Jonah's Arcade was a thing that Jonah Ray, formerly of Nerdist, would do. And it was like a really solid, fun show, apparently. I mean, I've seen moments of it. I wish he'd do it near me. I'd go to it. Yeah, he's doing Philly soon, and mostly he's done it at big like conventions. He's done it when he's in LA. He's done it in New York a bunch. Um, but like you know, a thing that he thought about doing and then ended up not doing, which I understand. That's Mike's choice, and I think it was probably the right choice. Was he had the opportunity like, oh well, I'm at around PAX. I could probably do this show somewhere, but I think he was just like, I'd rather just do a bunch of PAX panels and be there and have that instead of also producing a show, which I think was like probably the right choice for him at the time. Uh, but I know that there are people that look at events like that and they're like, okay, can I do a show around it? Um, all right, so we got this plastic piece here, which I don't know where it goes, so I'm looking to figure out where this little plastic insert goes. And I don't know right now, so I'm just go here. No, and then this is how it goes. All right, I'm going to see if I can look at this arm. Let's look at this again. Once I do this once, doing it again will be a lot easier. I can't see where it goes on the arms there. I've got this little plastic piece. This is B. This is B. Gonna double check. This is little heavy plastic inserts. This is B. Yep, that's B. So this is how the arm looks, and then it's just that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I know that there are folks out there that are experimenting with Twitch, and I think that like like I said, I like what some people are doing out there. Um, I think as the audiences get more comfortable with different styles of interacting on Twitch, it will get easier for people to be able to pitch those shows and produce those shows. Um, but it's going to take a little while before people are like willing to give it a try and to watch something they're not used to. Cannot figure this out. I'm going to look ahead at the other side and see if I can. Okay. All right. I think I figured this out. It's not locking in place because I got to put the other part on first. If I put this other part on first, I'll do that. Yeah, I mean, I'm always excited to see other things. I have one of the reasons why I do this model kit building was because I was like, well, I don't have a lot of games that I want to stream. I want to do some streaming. I want to do some to work on the internet because I have, through conventions, I have an audience that can't see me come do shows. They can't see 404ing it in New York as a live show, but they would be interested in seeing me do stuff. So how can I figure out a way to do some stuff online? And then it made sense to me to do model kit building because that's a thing that I miss doing. So why not do that online? Yeah, that fit right. That's the problem. The problem was I was doing the steps wrong. There you go. Baer. Nailing it. Am I right? Just completely nailing it. And by nailing it, I mean not understanding what he was supposed to do and messing it up. But yeah, I mean, that was one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because I miss building, and I thought doing something a little different might help. People might be interested in watching something a little different. I did have grand plans. I think the second stream I did had a guest. I've only had two guests ever on Build with Baer workshop. When I was in San Antonio, or not San Antonio, sorry, San Diego. Aaron Treitz guested, and that was really fun. I've always wanted to do that with a live show, or not live show, is to do, when I'm traveling for PAX or something, is to have Yes. And of course, when I uh, sorry, I'm just looking at this one here. Oh, it's this one guy. Um, I did my Lego build off, but that wasn't necessarily 404ing it, but that was a panel, and that was cool to do that for an audience. Just have the people with the money watch a Jibber Live show. Yeah, I mean, like those kind of shows, like the Big Live show is, um, or Whiskey Media Hour, which was a variety show, is what like Loading Ready Run like do when they do their live show, Loading Ready Live. They're doing um, uh, fundamentally like improv games, and they're doing uh, um, uh, competitions with one another, like challenges. They're doing interactive short formish improv games. They are interspersing with pre-tape stuff, which is interesting, like an ongoing narrative or whatever. Um, they'll debut a video, stuff like that. And like it is really a variety show. They do. They have a cold open, and it's different from a lot of other streamers. But that's also something they don't do like weekly, uh, because it is like I don't know anything about numbers or owns. I know that it's good and big, but it's also a production. It's an all-day affair. It is a lot of people giving up a lot of their time to make it happen. Whereas, you know, the difference between that and Graham and Alex playing some terrible, terrible video games is less production. It requires Graham to do some research and get some games together, but then and make sure they work. But it's mostly just the stream with a little bit of background work. But yeah, I mean, if you're dealing with camera people, like to just set up a hard cam with a room mic in a comedy theater is not hard. Last night, I teched a show where I hooked up the projectors to my phone and went on Instagram and watched someone's Instagram live video of them so they could do the overhead, one of those things, the overhead things, and we could project it, right? It's not hard to do. Technology exists. I could be live streaming every show. Now, most comedy theaters don't want to live stream their stuff because they want you instead to come to their theater instead of watching it for free. They want you in the audience. They want butts in the seats. They want to sell you drinks. They want you to pay the ticket price. They don't think they can necessarily charge you, and they're right. They don't think they can charge you on the internet to watch their shows unless they're big events. So it's when you're dealing with production, it's a hard thing. VP at Disney at one time let Dan Reichert punch him in the face for our entertainment. Here's the thing. Epic. I can't name him. I can't. Jam's here. Hi, Jam. I can't name him out loud. There is somebody out there who is not related to anything I do in video games that works at Disney. There's a guy that works at Disney that came up through Marvel. He's a VP at Disney because he was a VP at Marvel. But he came up from Marvel in various other means. This guy, the amount of nonsense he did in his regular life, which is like documented other places, so I won't blow up his spot. But the amount of nonsense involved with this dude is so much that it's just like one of those things you're like, yeah, anything Johnny did is nothing compared to it. It is weird to think about and fascinating to think about, like when you look at like Johnny at Nintendo and Drake at Disney and just like all of this nonsense that exists, like these people that go to these companies, but like none of it compares to the nonsense a friend of mine got into in his life. And so it's always very funny to think about that. When I think about those things, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't really matter because there are just nightmares out there. Wonderful nightmares. All right, so we're putting some clear plastic on this piece here, and then we're going to put hard plastic over it, this harder green. So instead of a sticker, we're doing over the sticker, then we're doing clear. It's really going to make this pop and shine. So that goes on there, and then we put the outside armor on this to lock everything in place. This is a great looking. This is a really great layered look. Really gives it just a beautiful. Like I can't really see the sticker that's on this arm anymore. There's a sticker down deep in there, and it's hard to see. But when you do catch it in the light, it just looks very cool. There's some really strong attention to detail in this kit that I really appreciate. All right. So I got to drink some water right now because it is dry in this room. It's snowing in New York. It might still be snowing. It might have turned to some rain, but it was snowing in New York before I started streaming, which is rad. But then there's a lot of heat going on in the apartment. So I'm going to drink a little water. We'll do that. And then I'm going to take a pause for the cause. We're going till 5:30 p.m. tonight, 5:30 Eastern. So we got another hour of streaming. So I'm going to do that. But we are going to pop in some Nightbot. So first and foremost, if you are a subscriber, you can throw the Bear Cave like Jam did, the Lego, the Scythe emote. Remember that if you use Twitch Prime, if you link your Amazon Prime with your Twitch account, you have to manually renew that. It doesn't auto-renew. If you use Cash Money, it does auto-renew. But you can also click that notification thing and let us know that you renewed. And then we'll play something off the soundboard, and that's fun. Also, you can always use your points for me to play something on the soundboard, and I will. So let me quickly go through. I do have that Twitch. Becoming a subscriber on Twitch is a great way to support the stream. You can also use bits and coins. They're always appreciated. They just go till get me closer to that payout that I need. So that's always helpful. I have a Patreon. You can support me on Patreon. There's $1, $3, $5, and $10 tiers. Jump in on that if something you'd like to do. You could donate to the stream. That's a thing you could do if you'd like. You're under no obligation to do that, but you could donate the stream. That's one way to support what we do here. And let's see. I've got... if you're like Pat, I would love to support you and buy a kit. Oh, Slick Builder is now following, so let's give the old applause. Thank you for the follow, Slick Builder. If you're saying to yourself, hey, Pat, Lashbrook bought you this Exia off your wish list. I'll do that. What's up? Well, I've got a wish list, and you can buy something off of that, and it gets sent to me Amazon. If you buy it, and you bought it from Japan or something, I don't get a note. But if it comes to the U.S., I do see a note. You can leave a note and say, like, hey, I bought this. So I had to find out that the lovely and wonderful Jen Bain of Friendshipping and Cards Against Humanity, it's Jen Bain, bought me a kit, a real grade, the Titan, the MK2 Titans. So I'm going to build that in the future. But yeah, I've got like $20 Lego sets and some high grades in here. The Thousand Sunny, which we built before, but this is the flying model. So it's got the penguin theme, which I think is great from the Stampede movie, to more expensive kits. Pricier things, things that are important for Japan, things that have Amazon Prime on it, things that are on sale. Lots of kits to build, and you could do that, and then I would build it on stream. I'm going to remove that because we've done so many versions of the Exia. There's another Exia on there that I'm just like, I don't want the 7 sword. We've built so many of them. We did the Saber version. We built so many of those. I'm just going to take it off for now. Because the Quanta and Exias and 7 swords and all those like are just very similar. They're great, but they're just very similar. So that's one way to support the stream is to buy something on there, and then I'll build it on stream. That's how that works. I also, if you wanted to buy a gift card from USA Gundam Store, you could buy a gift card and then send me a whisper here on Twitch, and then give me the code for the gift card, and I could buy something there. If you were like, I don't want to buy anything on Amazon, that's an option. I want to have another option. Has anyone ever done that? No. But they could. What I don't want, and what I'm trying to avoid, is somebody being like, well, Pat, I don't want to buy it through Amazon, so I guess I can't get you anything. I'm like, okay, well, here's another option. I want you to have options to help me on the stream. I have a Discord. Feel free to jump into the Discord. Let me put the link in there. And if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, all these are in the show description. So you could just go to there. But join my Discord. It's nice. It's nice. You deserve nice things. Let's see. What else do I want to put in? Okay, yeah. So we'll do Pat Baer's Anime Club came out this Monday. I put up episode 8. It is my preview of the Anime Awards, which is coming out in February, and me talking about the various things that I am going to be the things I voted on. Voting is closed, but if you wanted to see what's being nominated and what my thoughts on those, you can check that out. Baering the List is the thing I put on Wednesday. I ranked, I should say, all of the home consoles for the NES this week. I'll be doing that every Wednesday. A new one. The one I did for next week is very silly. And I also have been thinking about I might do one of those live at some point, like in an afternoon where I'm getting set up to do it. I might just go live and kind of do that. I haven't quite decided that yet. And then if I did that, it wouldn't show up in I would delete the VOD. So that would just be like, hey, if you want to come in and see me record this. I've been thinking about doing that. That might be fun. And then I do have a PAX East fundraiser. As I've said somewhat privately, I've definitely said on here, the opportunity arose for some sponsorship to allow me to attend PAX East, and that fell through. And so I am turning to the larger community and the wonderful folks out there to possibly help me get there. I have currently raised $280 of the $500 I'm trying to raise for travel and accommodations, and that's incredible. I was already able to put down with that money. I paid for half of my Airbnb, so now I'm looking to pay for the other half, or at least save the money for the other half. And then I'm also looking to pick up my train tickets. If the money doesn't come in and I gotta take a bus, I'll take a bus. I ain't too proud to take a bus, but if I can travel at some comfort, I will. But yeah, that's there. No one is under any look. That's the important thing to always say. You're under no obligation to ever subscribe or join my Patreon or donate or buy a kit or help me get to PAX. None of that. You're under no obligation to do any of that. But if you can, that's great. If you can't, I understand. All the shows that I watch that I normally would talk about on a Saturday evening, ain't too proud to bus. Indeed, Harold. Let's get back to work on this arm here. All right, so we've got K into B. We're working on more of the arm here, upper arm part. So, all the anime that I watch, which we'll talk about now, normally, I would have like my Saturday, the 2 shows I watch on Saturday, or the 3 shows I watch on Saturday, I would have, at dinner time, I would just watch them, or maybe watch one in the afternoon with lunch or something. But for you, I watched one of them at lunch and the other 2 as they came out. I made sure to watch all 3, plus the ones I watch on Friday. So we'll start with Science Fell in Love, so I tried to prove it. I'm now on episode 4. I watched episodes 3 and 4. I got caught up. The premise is still just fun. It's a romantic comedy-ish show. It is, some high school science club members trying to understand attraction and love and see if they can scientifically prove things. And there's hypotheses, and that leads to awkward situations and figuring things out and trying to understand their feelings. And they added the wrinkle of the advisor, who is kind of undermining things. There's an upperclassman that looks younger because that is not the first time I will say there's like somebody who looks younger than they are, kind of making things awkward for them. Uh, so far, it's still very fun. I'm enjoying it. I am kind of waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm kind of waiting for it to like take that turn where I'm like, nope, don't like this character. That hasn't happened yet, which has been just so nice, just delightful that we have not run into that yet. Uh, but yeah, Science fell in love. If you're looking for a romantic comedy-ish kind of show, it's interesting. The science and like explanation thing. There's a scene where a character, to just give one scene, uh, they are doing an experiment of like close intimacy, like being near each other, raising heart rates, and what does that mean? And realizes that it's not dependent on the person because this guy's heart rate basically changes or is adapted no matter who he's with, and so the person who's trying not to show that she's mad is definitely like mad about it. Um, but it's interesting because she's definitely mad about it, and then the explanation he gives is, well, this is the first time I've had close contact with women up until these experiments, so of course my heart rate is going to go up no matter what. It, which is the thing that he's also saying very cocky, like he's had a breakthrough. It's fun. I'm not describing it well, but it is a fun show. Uh, they do the classic like arm like over somebody, pressing them kind of against a wall to look at them and get close. The anime, the thing you've only seen in anime, uh, and manga, uh, and just trying to understand that stuff, which is like, yeah, like I said, it's cute. I like it. Um, Asteroid in Love. I might drop this one. I'm not really feeling it. The characters really aren't springing to mind. Like, if Friday was busier, here's the thing: if I get busy where I'm like not able to watch stuff for Saturday as much as I would like, if I have to like give up a show, if I had to give up a show and there was a show I couldn't watch to be able to talk to you, that's the show I would give up on Friday. Easy. There's nothing particularly spectacular about it. There's nothing to write home about. It's just fine. It's just fine. So I'm not like, yeah, I'm not gung ho about it. It's just fine. I might end up dropping it just because I'm not super into it. Okay, so let's see. Welcome to Demon School. Man, I really like the show, and I can't wait for shit to happen. So here's the thing. Here's what's going on in the show. It is the plot was pretty straightforward and basic. One of the most powerful demons in the underworld bought himself a grandson, and which we later learn he buys a human to be his grandson because he is jealous. He never had kids, and his closest friends both have grandchildren, and they're very proud of them, and he's jealous of that. So he ends up, when he's going to go steal a soul, he ends up running into people that are like, well, we'll sell you our kids. So he got a really cute kid, and he's going to demon school, and the plot is just him trying to survive demon school, and it's a comedy, right? He's trying to let no one know that he's a human because that's definitely not allowed. So he can't let anybody know that who he is. Comedy arises. Makes friends. He's a good dude. He's changing things. Cool. It's a double season, right? And I'm starting to think that they were not ready for that. Because all of a sudden, like, there was an overarching plot, but it was mostly about, like, the character interactions and the moment-to-moment things, and, like, things worked out, and then sometimes things didn't, and it was whatever. It was pretty light. Well, we've been leading up to some sort of catastrophe, a double cross. Someone's going to, he hasn't been able to sway this one person. This person's about to take advantage of him and cause some harm. And we, the audience, have known about this. I gotta go. I'll catch you later. Have a good day and night. Harold, you have a great day. Thank you for being here. We will soldier on. Harold, thanks for hosting as always. I'm glad you were able to check out the stream. Yeah, have a good one, my friend. So, we've known as an audience that something bad is going to happen for several episodes. And guess what? It hasn't happened yet. We've just been like slowly plodding along. And so there are moments in this episode that were fun. There were some fun character interactions. There's some good goofs. But I almost wish that this thing that was coming had come out of left field, or they had been rushed and had to force it. And maybe I would complain then about how like, oh, this sucks that they like didn't give it any time to breathe and they're just like all out of nowhere it became a drama. But instead we just got like, as an audience member, I'm so far ahead of all of the main characters and I don't enjoy that. It's one thing for me to know like, oh, this guy's a bad guy actually, or he's got his reasons but he's going to do a bad thing. Instead, it's a bummer. If when the show is over, if I end up recommending it to anyone, it would be with the understanding that at a certain point, like once the battler part of the arc happens, it just takes forever to get good and is actually rather frustrating. So that's a bummer because one, it's just a straight comedy show, and I like to support those. Two, Clara and a lot of the other supporting characters are really good and funny, and I like supporting funny characters, and they genuinely make me laugh. And then most importantly, it's a comedy show that got a double order. You don't see that in anime. You don't see 24 episode or 26 episode comedy shows. It's really rare. There might be funny adventure shows or something like that, but it's rare to just see a straight up like comedy thing get that kind of order. So it's a bummer that they're not taking full advantage of it, and I feel like they're just treading water. So yeah. I'm complaining that a show that didn't have a plot is getting didn't have a deep plot is getting a plot, but it's just been, here's a great word for it, it's been plotting. It's just been plodding along. And that's been a bummer. Okay. My Hero Academia. I am not going to spoil a thing that happens in this episode of My Hero Academia because I do know people who watch the dub. I don't want to catch Lashbrook because I think the dub is like a week behind. I don't want them to catch like on YouTube tomorrow, chilling out from PAX South and catching on my stream. I don't want to tell you the big spoiler. A big fucking thing happened at the end of this episode. I will say, this is the fallout from the end of this arc. Overhaul has been defeated. Overhaul was defeated and captured, and then the League of Villains attacked, and then stole one of his arms, and then destroyed his other arm. So I think it's pretty safe to say we are done with Overhaul's story arc. Because he got wrecked, and then he got fucking wrecked. It is awful as far as storyline stuff goes for the League of Villains to have access to the drugs that either destroy quirks or power up quirks. We don't know what drugs they got or if they got both of them. We're not sure. Either is bad. It's also terrible that they have access to the arm. Because the doctor, the evil doctor guy, could theoretically start making Nomu, evil creatures, with the ability to decay and maybe repair, but definitely destroy bodies. or parts of the body. That's real bad. It's not good that they have it. What was I gonna say? Yeah, a bad thing happens. Um, Midoriya gets acknowledged by people and gets thanked by people, and they even go so far as to be like, "Wow, it's weird that there wasn't a lot of property damage, and there wasn't more like civilian accidents." And they're like, "Yeah, that's because Midoriya like contained it, did a good job. Our boy Deku did a real good job on this one." You'd hope that more people would, like, less people would have gotten hurt, but he did the rescue right. And there is, as I said, there is a big thing that happens that I'm not going to get into because I don't need to get into that. You'll hear about it. But yeah, season 4 of My Hero Academia started slow, and I'm fine that it started slow because I was actually expecting this one to, this chapter to like end and there to be like, and then hey, what's Tokiyama been doing in his internship? But instead they're like, nah, things are gonna get rough immediately. Sorry, no time to breathe. Things are gonna get fucked up, which is not good, at all. So it should be interesting to see where that goes and what the next episode brings. But yeah, no time for the weary to rest. Uh, we'll see. We'll see how things work and how they go. But overall, I will say it was pretty good. Pretty damn good. Of course, also that last week's show. So if you're watching the dub, the episode you got this week of the final confrontation with Overhaul and Midoriya, you are in for one of the best action scenes of 2020. And you're saying to yourself, Pat, it's barely been a month. It's not even a month yet. It's true, but it will stand up for quite some time. This was a really fucking good fight. It's great action, some flashback stuff, like interrupted by moments of like acknowledgement of what's going on, a better understanding of some of the characters. Just overall, really fucking great. Let's see, and then what was it going to say? So we get into the last half hour of our build stream, which is fun. Oh yeah, so I mentioned this in the last stream because I started watching in Spectre. Now I can watch it on Saturdays for the Saturday stream and kind of check out what's going on there. All right, so this little piece of plastic here is going to get hooked in here, it looks like. So we have to make sure that we're doing that right as we put this in place. And then there's a bend there, but we got to make sure we do it right as we whoop. This is a little tricky here, so I'm going to try to do this as I talk about Inspector. I'll get everything kind of like leveled right and then, or laid out right. But yeah, we're just putting the parts of the shoulder on here, and then we'll build up the shoulder with more armor. But we want to make sure that we get this in where it needs to go, and then connect it where it needs to be connected. So Inspector. So the first episode, we're kind of getting a sense of who these characters are, what their deal is. We learn a little bit about them, and then it ends with like some action, right? So I was like, oh, this second episode is going to have probably more action, and it looks like that's coming. But this second episode is mostly just like the ins and outs of what our female character does, who is the goddess of wisdom for like yokai and specters and various other things. She is, she's there to see these creatures, and we kind of get the understanding she doesn't have powers beyond that. Without the fact that she can see these creatures and communicate with them, she doesn't have any other abilities, which is bad because sometimes she runs into things that don't want to just listen to her. So that's why she's been looking towards having the help of our main dude, who can see all those specters, and also a lot of low-level versions of them are just scared shitless of him because he is terrifying to them with good reason. And then we find out why he has possibly he doesn't have immortality as far as you can tell, but he does have healing. He can regenerate limbs and heal himself because he ate flesh of the mermaid. He apparently was unaware at the time. He didn't know he was doing that, but he ate mermaid flesh. But he also didn't stop aging, so he doesn't look 11. And we don't know why he didn't stop aging, but it's most likely the other meat he ate, which he avoided saying what it was, which is fine. We don't need to know everything about this dude. We can live with the mystery of what other creature did this dude consume, which is, I admit, a weird sentence to say. So this one was a little slow, and I didn't necessarily love it, but it did kind of give you an idea that maybe some of this is going to be just like deduction, and a lot of her job is just calming spirits down and making them peaceful and feel okay about what's going on, and arbitrating like issues, and it's not a lot of like vanquishing monsters. It doesn't seem to be that, although it seems like this next episode will be that. That seems to be where they're headed. Yeah, overall, Inspector, I'm into it. I said this earlier about what character looking young. Oh, Science fell in love. There's like an older senpai that is that one of the gags is that she's younger than she looks younger than she is, which is not my favorite gag at all in anime. In fact, I don't like it that much. In this case, it is kind of fine. The main girl just seems younger, and we don't really know why she's young. She seems younger. We just know that she is, and it's okay. It's whatever. But overall, it seems good. So I'm running an issue here where this is supposed to be bent here, and like we got this like heavy plastic piece here, but the shoulder doesn't seem to want to stay in place. And maybe when I attach it, it will. They're not showing me that it does stay in place. So I don't know what's going on there. I might be messing something up, but we'll know when I go to attach it. But right now, it looks like that. There's resistance. And we'll see what happens when I fully deck this out. So right now, we'll just leave it as it is there. And maybe when we connect the shoulder, when we pop this on here and we put this on there, because of that, it'll all look good. But right now, it doesn't look great. So we got about a half an hour left of the stream. I'm going until 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. If you got anything you want to chat about, please let me know, because I have now talked about all the anime I want to talk about. I have stuff, obviously, to talk about for Monday. A couple shows to watch on Monday. But two of the shows I watched on Monday are 3-minute episodes of things, so they're very easy to talk about. And of course, One Piece doesn't come out till tonight, so I can't talk about One Piece right now. Also, I might take a break from One Piece because it looks like we're going to an arc that I don't know. Got more reverie stuff. Maybe there'll be some good action, but I don't know. This last week's episode was bad, so maybe One Piece will be a thing I don't necessarily want to watch. And then it'll just be me watching Keep Your Hands Off Aizuken, Room Camp, and Yatagome-chan. Because Dorohedoro is a Sunday show, but I still don't know. I talked about this on Thursday, and I had some strong opinions out there about it, but I can kind of talk about it here. Should I find online, fan sub, or torrent Dorohedoro. It has been licensed for streaming in Japan on Netflix. There have been no announcements about it coming to the U.S. It is not available anywhere in the U.S. So legally, I cannot stream it on any service. It's not like uh, exclusive to a channel that I don't pay for, so I can't watch it that way. So there's no way for me to watch it. So does that make it okay? And obviously, I'm genuinely of the opinion that no, it doesn't. Doesn't make it okay. But even if it doesn't make it okay, am I still going to do it? And I haven't thought so. I haven't really figured it out yet. That's going to be, this topic I think is going to be my video for my next Baer's Anime Club. Is just kind of talking out loud my points, and hopefully by then I'll have come to a conclusion about what I'm going to do. But I don't know yet. It's an interesting thing to have in this modern day. There aren't a lot of instances of that. There are definitely shows that I have not seen because it's it ended up being a Funimation exclusive, or it's Funimation and Anime Labs, and we don't have access to Anime Labs, so it's just the dub on Funimation, and I don't have Funimation, so I didn't watch it. That's definitely happened. Or I had to borrow my friend's login to Funimation so I could watch this, and I didn't watch it otherwise. That definitely has happened before, and theoretically could happen again. But in this case, there's nobody in the U.S. has it. Now that's the thing, right? It could be that Netflix has it. Netflix could have it. I don't know. They haven't announced that they have it. And then also, to be fair, they haven't announced that they don't have it. So right now, I don't know if they do or not. So it is a question. Is this interesting show with its cool art style and weird story? Is that something that I'm willing to do that? I don't know. Epic World says, watch the first 2 episodes of The Witcher show. That show is good. I now believe video games should be TV adaptations instead of movies. Hell, video game animes should happen more often. I mean, look, if you like anime about video games, anime based on video game properties, I agree with you, should happen more often. I think they can be fantastic. There is a Tales spin-off, the Tales franchise, the Tales of Symphonia and Tales like that. There is a Tales anime that I thought was really good, that kind of played with a lot of the ideas of what those Tales series are, even though it was its own story. It was a really solid RPG. That was years ago, but I thought that was a good adaptation. So there have been things like that. I mean, if you like anime about playing video games, I'm watching 2 of those right now. VR fantasy worlds are kind of taking the place of isekai this season. There is Bofuri, and it's such a bad name. So there's Bofuri and Infinite Dendogram. And then there's also, which are also you have the Persona 5. Yeah, the Persona 4 anime is really great. And the Persona 4 Golden anime is good. That one's more... The Persona 4 anime gives itself legs to explore things. And it I think it's really fun. There's a whole 2-parter following the exploits of our main character with all the side characters, the drama, the rich girl and the nurse and all that. There's a whole thing of watching, it starts with the mysterious fox, and it takes you on a bunch of side quests that I think is really solid. It's a good interpretation of that there's a bit where he's like wearing gear to make him better at fishing because he goes out to try to catch a fish, and it's just kind of like it's really for diehards. But yeah, there's two anime that are based kind of in video game stuff right now out there that I think are both good. I don't know if they're like these are perfect or these are must watches, but I think they're like good shows. Um, and there's at least one VR detective show out there that I'm not watching. Uh, I saw that a MK animated show is set for a June release. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Um, I remember the last Mortal Kombat animated was not good, but that's not to say that this one won't be. But that one I remember being not good. Uh, but it was probably a product of its time. Uh, there's a Street Fighter 2 anime that's not great, but then some of the movie ones I think are pretty good. Poor scenes, poor, not great scenes, and bad choices besides. There have been some pretty good Street Fighter animated stuff. The King of Fighters anime is really good. That's old as shit. And that's really solid. And I'm not even a big King of Fighters fan. But that one, like, they, like, worked hard to like, have a plot. And not just be like, here's all the characters you like. Like, they went out of their way to, like, try to tell a story. I thought that was pretty good. Um, and, some of the best, not some, there have been some solid anime that is based on light novel, not visual novels. Um, the many Fates anime that are out there are based on a visual novel game. The original Fate is a visual novel. There's a murder devil thing that's based on a visual novel that I can't remember the name of that came out that like people liked. I didn't like it too much, so that's maybe a bad example because I didn't love it. But um, yeah, there's been some visual novel stuff that has good anime adaptations. Uh, I think people like the Dangan. I've heard good things about the Danganronpa anime, which of course is based on the game series. Um, I have not watched it. I don't. Ask me anything about Dongo Bongo, which is me stealing a joke from Prosy D, uh, who always was getting Danganronpa wrong and just calls it Dongo Bongo. Yeah, I don't know enough about Dongo Bongo, but I hear that's a good anime adaptation. Uh, they're out there. They exist. Trying to think about other anime based. This is where a Pat Baer goes to. The Witcher show is making me want to do a third playthrough. Ha! Yeah! Maybe don't. Anime based on video games. Anime based on video games. Here's a list of anime based on video games from Wikipedia. Uh, Ace Attorney anime is solid. I wouldn't call it great. I know some people really like it. Um, there's a yeah. Just kind of looking to see if there's any that stand out. Uh, oh, I didn't know that. Wait, I didn't know that Clannad. Huh. It was a visual novel. Oh, Clannad. Here's the thing. I had no idea uh, that Clannad was based on a visual novel. There you go. Didn't know that. Okay. Arc the Lad. I did know that that was based on. Arc the Lad is a great early like '95 PlayStation game. Um, it looks really good. It was like a double disc. I knew that. Uh, and there was an anime based on that's good. Um, uh, okay, these are just movies, one-offs. A lot of one-offs. Of course, Castlevania. Uh, A New Comic Party was based on a video game. Danganronpa. Uh, I've never seen the Devil May Cry anime. Uh, just trying to look to see. Yep, Fatal Fury. Not Kid. So I said King of Fighters. I meant Fatal Fury. That's what I meant. Of course, the Fate series, the many Fates. Uh, Grand Blue. I haven't watched any of that. Uh, oh, Gungrave. Holy shit. Yes. Gungrave. So Gungrave, not necessarily a great game. I would not call Gungrave a good video game. But the Gungrave anime is mostly a flashback to it serves as a flashback to the character and what you're playing as in the game and how he got there. And they do an incredibly skillful job of making you feel fucking awful for how that dude ended up. That's a solid series. Why the fuck is there no Metal Gear anime? My assumption being that production is probably be too expensive, and also like Konami sometimes is in the business of making money, but often doesn't seem to want to make money with things. Who knows? My assumption is that like Kojima would have wanted to do it, and people would have not, and that was always the stumbling block. But I don't know. Not sure. Maybe people were like, just, yeah, not into it. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a treatment out there. I'm sure there's scripts out there for, there's a character Bible and people put the work in to be like, okay, well, if this was going to be a show, here's how I would do it and all that. But yeah, I don't know. There hasn't been. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's anyone. We got Hack, all that. Oh, Gungrave was so good. Oh, I knew that. Uh, yeah, there was a Kid Icarus show. It was short-lived. King of Fighters. Uh, oh, that also makes sense. The Grisaya. Grisaya is a odd anime with like several sequel adaptations, and that's based on a light novel. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, I forgot about the Mega Man, the all of the Mega Man anime stuff that's based on the Mega Man Battle Network games. EXE. Um, yep, the Mega Man EXE. Persona anime. Uh, there's a Leighton short film, long film. School Days. I knew that, which is a light novel into an anime. Of course, Sonic. Tales of Eternia was, I think, the one that I watched. There have been a bunch of Tales ones. And, of course, there are some idol animes that are based on games. There are plenty of anime that are based on idol games, but I don't know anything about idol games. I couldn't tell you anything about them, so it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, well this game is based on this thing. I just don't know. I don't have that information to tell you. But yeah, there's a director right now that is trying to get a Metal Gear movie going. I mean, I don't know. The thing is that the last Metal Gear that came out is incredibly poorly received. And that's not to say that that means that it's never going to happen or it's never going to be a thing. But when the last of a thing that you're trying to champion came out and didn't do great, it makes it harder for you to be like, look, I know that Metal Gear Survive isn't good, but that's not why people came to Metal Gear, so we can make this happen. Um, and who knows? Who knows, like, where the fates align on that stuff. It could be people like sometimes adaptations are great, and sometimes adaptations are so bad they ruin people forever. It's not always the case, but it is. It can be the case. Sometimes you can just sometimes you can make a thing and that's the last thing you get to make for a very long time because it did so poorly that people are like, "Hey, what if you didn't do things anymore? You don't get to do things anymore." All right, so I'm gonna try to finish up these steps here. We're gonna get this piece put in here. Oops. Gonna get this. Yeah. So I like these clear plastic pieces. I think this is a cool little thing. Tomb Raider. Those are great movies. I think the first Tomb Raider is a fun movie. I have less interest in the later ones. I did not see the reboot of them. Uh, but I think the first one is a solid popcorn movie. I also they were not. No. But Epic, I do think the first one was fun. I enjoyed the first Tomb Raider, especially at the time. Uh, but also, yeah. Hey, I went to go see a Resident Evil movie in 3D. So that was at my friend's request. He really wanted to go, so I went with him. And that was not the best time I've ever had in the cinema. Uh, I think the first Resident Evil is an interesting movie. I don't know if it's a good Resident Evil movie. I think the second movie is a bad movie, and then from that point on, they're interesting movies. Yeah, the second one I just don't think is good in any respect, but there's something interesting about some of them, uh, the later ones as well. The the idea of the continuing apocalypse. It's not just a apocalyptic event. It's what happens after and what happens to continue with threats and all that. So there's some interesting things there that I think is cool. I think the first one's like kind of a cool, weird movie. All right, so we got an arm done. We got a little bit of the second arm done. We finished the head. This thing is coming along swimmingly. We're making some great strides here. My next build stream is going to be on Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We're back to the normal Monday stream. So please tune in for that. Thank you for being here on this odd time. I know that this was a weird time for me to stream in the afternoon on a Saturday, but I hope you had a good time watching. Thank you for everybody that was here. Thank you for everybody that chatted and talked about it. Thank you for the new follow out there. Thank you very much. I'm going to run an ad at the end to make a little bit of money. You can watch the ad. You don't have to. Or you might not even see it if you're a subscriber. But thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next Build with Baer. Bye-bye.